At 3 in the morning, inside a quiet American military laboratory, a single message appeared on a computer screen. It was not dramatic. It did not look revolutionary. But that brief exchange, just a few typed words, marked the first time two distant machines truly spoke to each other. No one watching realized they had just witnessed the birth of a force that would one day reshape attention. Politics, work, love, and addiction itself. The question is not how the internet was invented. It is why it refused to stay under control. To understand that moment, you have to go back to the late 1960s, deep into the Cold War. The world was divided by fear, ideology, and the constant threat of nuclear conflict. Governments were not thinking about social media or online shopping. They were thinking about survival. Communication systems, at the time, were fragile. 1. Destroyed telephone exchange could silence entire regions. In a crisis, that weakness could be fatal. The problem was clear, and the pressure was immense. The United States Department of Defense began funding an idea that sounded almost impossible. What if computers could be linked in a way that had no single center? What if information could travel through multiple routes, automatically finding a path even if parts of the network were destroyed? This was not about convenience. It was about resilience under attack. Researchers at universities and defense labs were tasked with solving a problem no one had faced before. The limitation was not ambition, it was technology. Computers were enormous, expensive, and rarely compatible with one another. They spoke different languages, followed different rules, and were often locked into isolated systems. Networking them required new theories, new protocols, and a willingness to experiment without knowing if success was even possible. Failure was expected. Silence was common. Progress was slow. Then came the turning point. In October 1969, a team at UCLA attempted to send a simple command to a computer at Stanford. They typed the letter L. It worked. Then O. That worked too. When they typed G, the system crashed. The first message ever sent over what would become the internet was not hello, but LO, short for login. It was unfinished, accidental, and fragile, yet it proved the concept. Machines could communicate across distance, and the network could grow. From that moment, the idea spread quietly. More universities joined. More nodes were added. Crucially, the architects of this system made a decision that would change everything. They did not lock it behind ownership. The protocols, the rules that allowed computers to talk, were shared freely. Anyone could build on them. There was no central gatekeeper. No single authority. The network expanded not because it was controlled, but because it was open. The consequences unfolded gradually, then suddenly. In the 1980s and early 1990s, the internet escaped the world of scientists and entered public life. Email replaced letters. Websites replaced brochures. Information that once required libraries, experts, or institutions became available to anyone with a connection. Distance began to lose meaning. Time began to compress. Entire industries reorganized themselves around a network that had never been designed for profit or mass consumption. But something else happened along the way. As connection became constant, attention became valuable. Platforms learned not just how to deliver information, but how to hold people inside the network for as long as possible. Notifications, infinite scrolling, and algorithmic feeds were not accidents. They were responses to human psychology, the same reward systems that drive habits. Impulses and dependency, a system built to survive attack, quietly learned how to capture focus. Here is the lesser-known truth. The original designers of the internet actively feared this outcome. Many of them warned that commercialization and centralized platforms could undermine the open structure they had built. The network was meant to distribute power, not concentrate it. Yet the very openness that allowed innovation also allowed exploitation. Control returned, not through governments, but through incentives. Today, the internet is no longer a background tool. It shapes how news spreads, how identities form, and how time is experienced. What began as a decentralized military experiment now lives in pockets. Bedrooms, classrooms, and workplaces. The same architecture that once protected communication, during war now fuels entertainment. Outrage, community, and addiction, often simultaneously. And that brings us back to that unfinished message in the middle of the night. LO, a beginning without an ending. The internet was never designed to be what it is today, yet everything about its origins made this outcome possible. A system built to endure chaos became a system we struggled to escape. So here is the question worth sitting with. If the internet started as a tool to survive destruction, what does it say about us that it now struggles to let us disconnect? If this story mattered to you, consider sharing it, not to add noise, but to keep the deeper history alive. And I'm curious, do you think the internet still serves its original purpose, or has it quietly rewritten it?